Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about a move that was made by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in response to Leonard Fournette being activated off the injured reserve. As we talked about in the previous video, that did take up a roster spot, having Leonard Fournette come back, so the Buccaneers had to get rid of somebody, and they did make that decision. They released running back Le'Veon Bell, and I am yet again not alone in this video. Joining me again from the Cannon Fire podcast, it is Evan. Evan, I already know how you're doing because this is about 30 seconds after we recorded the first video, so let's just jump right into it, right? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have released running back Le'Veon Bell. He has been on the roster for, what, Evan? Has it been about a month and a half now?
Probably been about, I would say, a month.
Right. So, Le'Veon Bell, he was here for a month. A lot of people liked that move, right? I was a fan of it. Evan, I think you were a fan of it as well. Same thing with Brett. I'm over at the Cannon Fire podcast. A lot of people thought that this was a good move for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the absence of guys like Leonard Fournette. Ronald Jones was dealing with an injury. So you had, of course, Giovani Bernard was on the injured reserve as well. So really, you only had guys like Le'Veon Bell and Keshawn Vaughn for a few weeks there, and people were impressed with what Bell was able to do as a receiving back, get a couple of carries here or there, and now he's gone, which is unfortunate. So, Evan, I want your initial thoughts here on this move.
Yeah, so obviously, I think it caught some people by surprise, and that's a little surprising to me because it always seemed like Le'Veon Bell was kind of a temporary option there. Leonard Fournette had just gone down. Ronald Jones actually didn't go down with the injury quite yet. He suffered the ankle injury versus the Jets. But you're always looking for depth. Like you said, Giovani Bernard was still on IR. It always felt like it was a temporary thing. Le'Veon Bell did a solid job. And, I don't think he's completely done with Tampa. If he clears waivers, which probably should, I do think there's a chance that he just signs back with the Bucs practice squad just for some depth there. So I don't think he's particularly completely done with the Bucs, but once Fournette came back, the need for him wasn't really anything, right? I mean, he didn't play a single snap in the game last week, and they were without Fournette and Jones. So that maybe should have told you something. And the Bucs had success on the ground and through the air using their running backs. So, there wasn't really much of a purpose for Bell. They weren't going to keep 5 running backs on their roster, Kenyon Barner being the 5th. And a lot of people say, well, why not cut Barner instead of Bell? Well, the difference is Barner plays special teams and Bell does not. So Barner has more value to this whole team than Bell does. So that's the main difference. That's why Kenyon Barner's staying and Le'Veon Bell is likely to end up on the practice squad, just because Le'Veon Bell can do some things that Kenyon Barner can't, but Kenyon Barner can do some things that Le'Veon Bell can't. So an expected move, I think, once Fournette got back. I don't think Le'Veon Bell's blindsided by this or anything, but he did serve his purpose. He was a fine veteran and filled a role for them for the time being.
Yeah, the connections are there, obviously, right? Bruce Arians was with Pittsburgh for a good long while, around the same time, in fact, during the same time for a certain amount of time there as Le'Veon Bell. So the connections are still there. Like you said, I imagine Le'Veon Bell could very well possibly come back onto the practice squad, so potentially stay tuned for that. If that does happen, we may make a separate video talking about that. But like you said, they weren't going to keep 5 running backs. They have Leonard Fournette back. That's huge. They had Giovani Bernard back. That was huge. Both of those guys give you what Le'Veon Bell was giving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, especially in the case of Giovani Bernard, right? Gio Bernard can be that guy who can get a couple of carries and then also a couple of targets in a game whenever you need to give a guy like Leonard Fournette a breather. So there really wasn't a spot there for Le'Veon Bell anymore, unfortunately, right? I know he was a fan favorite. I was, I very much enjoyed Le'Veon Bell here on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like you said, Evan, I don't think he's potentially done here, but they just didn't need him anymore, right? You talked about Kenyon Barner. He can play special teams. Keshawn Vaughn, he can play special teams. Le'Veon Bell can't really play special teams like that, as a returner or as a punt gunner or anything like that. So he served his purpose. He did what he needed to do. I do have an important question for you, though, Evan, is does Le'Veon Bell get a Super Bowl ring if the Bucs do end up winning the Super Bowl? If he's not on the
if he signed back to the practice squad, If he's not on the practice squad, because every practice squad member gets one, obviously. So if he's on the practice squad, he'll get one. I do believe he gets one. I think every member of the team, no matter what, gets one, as long as you're a member of the team, like in the regular season or something. I'm pretty sure. Like the preseason doesn't count. Like the guys cut in the preseason, like that doesn't count. But I'm pretty sure if you're a member of the team during the regular season, and he was one of the team, I think if the Bucs win the Super Bowl, he will receive a ring if he's not on the practice squad.
Okay, because that was an important thing to make a note of, an important distinction, right? Because you remember whenever last year Drew Stand was on the Buccaneers practice squad at the quarterback position, and he ended up getting a Super Bowl ring just because it was almost like doing a favor type situation, right? I expect maybe a similar thing for Le'Veon Bell. To my remembrance, I don't think did he win a Super Bowl? I can't remember.
I don't believe he has a Super Bowl ring. No.
Right, so, I mean, that'd be kind of cool to get Le'Veon Bell potentially a Super Bowl ring, right? Of course, there's a lot of things that need to shake out. The Buccaneers have to beat the LA Rams in the divisional round tomorrow here, so yeah, maybe they can just put him back on the practice squad, like you said. At the very least, it's good depth in case somebody gets hurt. Maybe he can be like an elevation from the practice squad to the active roster in the NFC Championship game, or heck, maybe in the Super Bowl. But again, if that does happen, that's not necessarily a good thing, because that means more of the Bucs running backs are getting hurt, which we don't want to see that. So, I know he's a fan favorite. Maybe he'll end up on the practice squad, something along those lines. We'll just have to wait and see. But I do understand where people are upset with this move because, again, Bell had a lot of fans out there. But at the end of the day, it does make a good amount of sense. But, yeah, let us know your thoughts about this move down in the comment section below, guys. What do you think about Le'Veon Bell getting released? Do you think it made sense? Do you think they should have released somebody else? Give us your thoughts and opinions on that move. Evan, I want to thank you yet again for joining me for another video. For those of you who have not done so already, go check out the Cannon Fire podcast. A link to their YouTube channel will be down in the pinned comment down in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed, and we will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.